Hey folks, thanks for taking the time to be here. Just wanted to follow up with a quick walkthrough video of the Peavey, the 6505 1992 original multi-load pack, since it's quite a beefy pack, probably my biggest one yet, and I just wanted to make sure that people understand what it is, how it came to being, and yeah, just walk you through it and make sure people have enough information to get the best, make the most of this pack. So you can get the community, which is pretty much a free edition, a demo edition of the pack on Tone3000. If you just go to my profile, Tudor, over here, you can basically see the Peavey 6505 1992 original multi-load, mouthful, community pack. But it basically just breaks it all down. The description is pretty encompassing and it just walks you through it. But the gist of it is, I profiled this amp, so everybody's, the Peavey 6505 is a staple in the metal community, and a lot of people have covered it already. But I still got requests from folks to put my own spin on it, so I did. But if I were to, jump into this amp, I wanted to do something with a twist. So essentially what I did, I just put together a list of amp settings where I really liked how the amp sounds, and then what I did is I reamped each and every single setting three times with my three cabinets back there. So it's a Mesa, Mesa oversized straight from 2008, the horizontal rectifier, and then the Marshall, right, see that over there, the 1960 BV. So it's loaded with the Celestion Marshall G12 vintage speakers, and these Mesa cabs are loaded with the Mesa spec Celestion speakers. The 212 is fitted with 16 ohm speakers, whereas the oversized is fitted with 8 ohm speakers. So it's quite the variety. So the pack basically includes a DI, so that's direct, so in between the amp, the speaker out, and the cabinet. I have a DI box, and I tap the raw signal without any influence from the microphones. It captures that natural interaction between the power section and the cabinet, which gives that tone a specific flavor. No two cabs loading down the same amplifier are going to sound the same. And that's the beauty of these profiles. So I looked into getting the amplifier interacting with three different cabinets, and I've captured that for you and shared it in this pack. So that's really what the multi-load thing boils down to. Now, Ko-Fi doesn't, Tone3000 doesn't have the full pack. It's just some of the tones that I wanted people to enjoy. I think it kind of captures the essence of the amplifier. But the full pack, which is probably 4,000 profiles or so, 4,000 and some change, is available on Ko-Fi for a very modest fee, if I can call it that. I think it's pretty acceptable, looking at how the market is for IRs and profiles and so on. So, but what you get is, you get DI profiles with all three cabs, cab influences, right? You get mic'd up because I used an SM57 and SM58, and then three blends with those microphones. So you're basically, for each knob setting or for each knob combination on the front panel of the amp, I captured the DI signal, right, for reamping, the DI profile, and then another 5 flavors of mic'd up sounds. So you can, if you're into full rigs or mic'd up sounds, then you can use those. For each knob combinations, you have 5 mic'd up profiles. If not, and you like to use your own IRs, you can definitely do that while having the profile behaving like it was connected to a Mesa 412 or a Mesa 212 or a Marshall 412. So pretty nifty. Anyway, let's dive into it, and I'm just gonna show you around the file structure, and then we're gonna get to doing some playing. Okay, so when you download if you buy the pack on Ko-Fi, or if you just download the the pack from Tone3000, you're probably going to see, right, these things: REVyHi and STD, or A1 or A1. STD, that's the standard architecture. So NAM profiles out of the box, the highest quality NAM profile is with the A1 architecture, the standard architecture. So if you don't tweak anything with NAM and you just go on and train profiles, that's the highest default quality that NAM currently in March 16th, the 16th of March 2026 comes with, right? But because NAM is so customizable and it's open source, I also trained all of these profiles with another architecture called REVyHi, developed by a gentleman called Richard Gertsen. He's the gear page 38 at the digital section on the gear forum. I think he has a thread over there. And this architecture is pretty cool. It's trains much more accurate profiles, but they are a little bit harder to run. So I guess if I'm sitting at my PC and I'm just playing around with these, I'm gonna probably use the REVyHi. Whereas if you want to load them on a pedal or something like a dime head, an amp player, or the newly released SonioLab Stop Station Pro, or the Anagram from Dark Glass, you could probably, without any problem, load the standard, the A1 architecture profiles, and they'll run just fine. They will be lower accuracy, but that lower accuracy in compared to REVyHi is still going to knock the socks off all the other profiling technologies out there, products right there. So at least for now. So yeah, I took all of the recordings or the reamps and I trained them twice. That's pretty much the gist of it. So if we walk through it, you'll see over here that we have several other nested structures. So we have amp, OD, POW, and pre. I'm gonna start with these. They're just recordings of the preamp section of the amplifier. So when I was shooting the training signal into the input of the amp, I was extracting, or I was recording what was coming out of the effects send, right? I wasn't tapping the speaker out. So that gives me just the preamp sound. So amplifiers usually are comprised of a preamp that shapes the sound, gives you the tone. And then you have the power amp section, which also gives you some of the tone, but mostly the feel, because the output transformer and the tubes interacting with the cab is pretty much what you feel under the fingers as a guitarist. And that's really what we like so much in tube amps. But with the preamp profiles, what you can do is, if you have, say you're gigging, and there's a backline amp that's not too high gain, for instance, or whatever, doesn't necessarily have the sound that you like, but it's loud, good enough, and you have a real cabinet on stage. If you have one of these NAM players, like the Dime Head or the SonioLab or the Anagram by Dark Glass, you can load some of these preamp profiles and you route them over into the effects return of the backline amp, and then basically you can just run the Peavey 6505 preamp front end into the back, into the power amp of whatever Fender amp or whatever else you have going on there on the backline, which is pretty cool, right? You can turn that vanilla amp into a fire-breathing monster. Or you can use preamp profiles from the 6505 in your DAW or on your NAM loader to mix with other power amp profiles. Just say mixing the Peavey 6505 power amp section, preamp section with the power amp of like the 14 over there that I'm gonna do soon, or the other one on top of it, which I'm also going to have a look at. Right, power amp profiles. These are also DI and mic'd up. So I was shooting the signal into the effects return, right? So shooting the NAM training sequence, my custom training sequence, into the effects return of the amp, and then just capturing what was coming out of the DI box if I was using the DI profile. So it doesn't have any mic sound to it. You can basically overlay your IRs, your favorite IRs over here, and just go crazy, go to town. And also, because I had the mics already over there laid out on the cab, I also captured the mic'd up sounds, right, pretty much. Why are these power amp profiles useful? Say maybe you have something like this, like a Synergy, like a tube preamp, and you're going straight into your audio interface, tracking and so on. But since it's just a preamp, it doesn't feel good under the fingers, right? It is just stiff. It doesn't have any swelling like that huge and fast low end. So this is where you could actually plug in your Synergy into your audio interface and just load up a power amp profile inside NAMM, and then you're off to the races, right? So you're gonna get like a full-on amp sound. It's pretty cool. OD, that's pretty much just a selection of stomp boxes, boost pedals that I captured. So stuff like the J Rocket, Jeff Archer, the Jeff Beck Archer, like the 14, Tube Screamer Mini. What else do we have here? Dorvenhammer. That's pretty much like a Horizon precision drive. I think that's what it's called. The 14 grind. MXR custom M77 custom badass modified OD, the Warm Audio ODD, which is an OCD clone, and yeah, pretty much the Boss, I think G7, yeah, the Boss G7. That's a recent addition over here. What else do we have over here? And then we have the amp profiles, which are essentially like training signal goes into the front end of the amp, the guitar input, and it comes out of the speaker out. So speaker out or the cabinet. So it's the same thing over here. You have the DI profiles, which you can use with your favorite IRs, or if you're into fully mic'd up sounds, or you want to, maybe you're using something like a Vailton, like those small NAMM units that can't load an IR together with an amp profile. These mic'd up profiles are going to give you what you're looking for. They have like amp, cab, mic, right? So, and there's variety, and there are a ton of variety, just a ton of it. Right, so that was a mouthful, but I think it's really necessary just because it helps put things into perspective. There's a lot of flexibility in this pack, and I enjoy using and mixing and matching all of these sorts of profiles. So I'm just gonna quit the yapping, and I'm just gonna open up Reaper. All right, I'm just gonna add a new track, and let's go over some of these profiles. Just maybe do an A/B in between the same settings but different cabs, right? So let's see the multi-load effect in action. So there's nothing going on over here. I'm just gonna add a new track, arm it for recording, and I'm just gonna use my instrument input. Make sure I have the signal going to OBS, because I'm using OBS for streaming. And let's see if I can get the good guitar DI. Yep, good old guitar DI. I'm using the Strandberg Bowden Essential this time around. It's pretty cool guitar. I love the neck on this thing, and the bridge pickup is excellent. So right now we have absolutely nothing loaded, and I'm just gonna fire up this instance. Look for Neural Amp Mother by Steve Atkinson. All right, and we have NAMM loaded. Again, absolutely nothing loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna disable the EQ because I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm going to enable calibration. So I'm just gonna use the calibrate input, and I'm just gonna type in my interfaces. Maximum input gain. If you don't know what this is, I have a couple of videos linked over here, even in the pack. Calibrated NAMM profiles and stacking NAMM calibrated profiles. Watch those, and it'll make a lot more sense. All right, so got calibration out of the way. I'm just gonna disable the IR first, and I'm just gonna load. Let me go. I'm just gonna go with A1 for now. Just gonna load a DI profile, right, of of an amp of the 6505. Let's see which one. Let me sort them by name. I like this one. Right, but again, take note, this is a DI profile. It won't sound good. Right? So what you want to do is you can come here and you can load your own IR. Right, let's see. Just gonna load one of Ed's IRs, which, by the way, is responsible for this whole calibration, widely adoption of the calibration framework. Right, and now it's gonna sound like an amp, right? And that's all you need, like with this plugin. I mean, you could, you know, add a boost in front and so on and so forth, but for just the vanilla tone, the vanilla guitar tone, that's all you need, like the NAM profile that you got over there and the IR. Calibration enabled, and you're off to the races. Now, what I'm going to do is, okay, so we saw the mic'd up profile. I'm gonna the DI profile. I'm gonna disable the IR, and I'm just gonna have a look at the mic'd up ones, right? So let's see. Pink Gator, I think this was it. So I'm just gonna start with, because you see over here like the same preset, like Pink Gator on the lead channel has blend 1, blend 2, blend 3, SM57 and SM58. The amp actually had the same knob positions, but I used different mic blends in between the SM57 and the SM58 to get some tones that I was going for. So I'm just gonna look at the blend 1. Right, so right now we have the IR disabled. So this profile you can actually fit on one of those Vailton units and it'll sound pretty good. Maybe I don't like this blend, so I'm just gonna go to blend 2. Or just the SM57. Or the SM58. A little bit darker, but it's quite pleasant to jam through. So these are the amp profiles, like DI and mic'd up, right? But I mean, if you look through this list, I mean, you're gonna go bananas. Like, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I tried giving names or somewhat memorable names to each of these presets. Just in case you scroll, you know, casually scroll through them and you know just find one that you like. You could probably use that name and it'll stick. You know, you'll remember it. Or if you're looking for something very specific, or you have the amp, you stumble upon one of these profiles and you really want to know the settings, what you can do is even on the Tone3000 description over here, if you scroll to the bottom, which probably most people don't, there's a URL. If you go to this URL, let me just open it. Okay, copy and open, paste. All right, you can just download this Excel spreadsheet with all the profiles and the settings, and it looks like this. And it's also included in the Ko-Fi download. So if you bought the pack on Ko-Fi, you have this spreadsheet. So you can pretty much, like you'll see over here, you can filter by the amp type. Let's say I just want to look at amp profiles, and I'm just gonna I was using the Pink Gator preset profile, whatever. So I'm just gonna type in Pink Gator, right? And then you'll see that it uses, I mean, it has 3 flavors like Marshall, Mesa 212, Mesa 412. It was on the high input of the lead channel. The gain, the preamp gain was set at 4. The bass was set at 6, or the lows at 6.3 roughly. The mids were at 7.5. The highs at 8. Post gain, which is the master volume, at 1.5. Resonance at 5.5. 6.5 for the presence. And the inspiration was a YouTube video by the Studio Rats. Right? And that you can pretty much do all the same thing for all of the profiles. You can also filter by the poweramp profiles, right? And you'll see the settings over here. Although the poweramp profiles have the resonance and the presence and the naming, so it's pretty. I tried to make it comprehensive. Or if you're an Excel geek, you can come over here and you can start sorting them. So for instance, you want to just filter out profiles that only have the gain at 2, and there you go. Right. I put this list together just because some folks, they want to have that information disclosed, and I honestly would probably want the same thing if I was going to buy a pack, to be completely honest. Now, we got that out of the way. Now, I want to show you a couple of use cases because we have all of this flexibility in the pack. And let's see the multi-load thing in action, right? So we looked at the, let's go with DI profiles, right? So I'm just going to pick this pink gator thing apart. So I'm just going to type in pink gator. All right. And I'm just gonna look into this folder if it works. Okay, well, plan B. So I'm going to there we go. There's a little bit of searching around, but eventually you'll find it. Right, so let's enable the IR because it's gonna sound like garbage. So that's the ping gator with the Marshall, right? Let me make sure that, no, it's the Mesa 412. Okay, good. Let's look at the ping gator with the Mesa 212. Right, not as bloated in the mid-range, and maybe a little bit more high-end extension. Profile. Right, the 412 brings the oomph, has a lot more low mids. Let's see how the Marshall behaves, right? So we're just over here with the Marshall. So I'm just gonna, I'm still gonna play the Mesa 412. Automatically the Marshall is a little bit more linear. It's not that bloated in the low mids, but it's still, you know, tight and so essentially you have that flexibility, that variety, right? For one subset of knob positions, you pretty much have the same profile captured 3 times, or profiled 3 times, if you will. Right? Yeah, and that's and the preamp as well, for probably all of them, if I'm not mistaken. Right, let's try to daisy chain some profiles. just because we have the OD, the pedals. I'm just gonna rename this quickly. So I'm just gonna say nam amp. Right. Just gonna add another instance of the RAM modular. This is where I'm gonna load the boost, and I'm just gonna move it up in this upstream in the signal chain. Just gonna say nam boost or OD. So what I'm gonna do is over here I'm gonna disable the IR in the OD one. I'm just gonna enable the calibration because that's how you do it. I'm just gonna set the output to calibrated. All right. Gonna load one of these over here. Standard OD. Let's go with one of these. Let's see, volume at 7, tone at 10. Let's pick this one. Right, volume at 7, tone at 8, and the drive at 0. I'm just gonna disable the EQ. I can leave the noise gate on. Everything, the input and the output are set to 0. The output is set to calibrated because that's how you do it when you're stacking profiles. And on the amp, we have the same amp, the Pingator DI, one of the Cali OS 2002 IRs by Edward Sokolowski. I hope I didn't get your name wrong, Ed. Or Mirror Profiles. Look his stuff up, it's pretty good. And the output is set to normalized. So let's hear how it sounds without the boost. Let's enable the boost. Sorry, Gojira, for butchering your song. Right, so let's look at another boost, or let's try something else, right? So we have the boost, the amp, and let's rename this because I want to load a preamp. Say there's another interesting use case for having separate preamp and power amp profiles, and that's maybe you like the Pingator texture of the profile, but you're not necessarily sure about the depth and the resonance. The presence and the resonance, right? Because they're on 5.5 and 6.5. Maybe you would like to see how this profile sounds with both of them on 7. So you can actually do just that. You can take the preamp section of a profile that you like and mix it together with one of the various power amp options that I supplied in the pack. So let me show you how you can do this. Let me just rename this instance to preamp. Nam preamp, just to make it a little bit more easier on the eyes. I'm just gonna disable the IR over here because I don't need an IR in the preamp. I'm going to go into another instance, and I'm just gonna set the output to calibrated over here because I have a preamp. I'm going to have a preamp profile. Let's go over here and just gonna look for the Pingator preamp. There we go. And now it's going to sound like rubbish because we don't have any power amp added nor an IR. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in another instance of NAM. I'm just going to disable the EQ, set the calibration. Because I'm just going to rename this as well. NAM power amp. Right, so we have them, all our ducks in a row. Because this is the last NAM instance in this entire chain, we can set the output to normalized or just leave it at raw. It doesn't necessarily matter too much. Normalized helps if you're scrolling through various power amp profiles. It just levels out things so you don't, blast your ears if one of them is louder than the other. Alright, so I'm just gonna load up one of the power amp profiles over here. I'm just I can go for a mic'd up one, and we won't need an IR. And I'm just gonna show that to you. Let's see, we want both the resonance and the presence on 7. This is it. And let's see how it sounds. Not too bad. If it's too quiet, bring the output up. Right, and this is the power amp loaded down with the Marshall 412 cap, but you have resonance at 7 and presence at 7, even with the Mesa caps. Let's see. Let me just go with one of these. Marshall. We're at the Mesa. I think this is the most inconvenient thing about profiles, right? Accuracy is awesome, but scrolling through profiles is kind of a pain. And I tried easing some of that with the Excel spreadsheet and the naming convention. It's not perfect, but I mean, it was the best I could figure out for now. Right, so let's look at the, we're on the Marshall. Let's look at the Mesa. So resonance at 7, presence at 7, blend 1, Mesa. Not too bad. That's the Mesa 212. Let's see the Mesa 412. Right. 7 and 7. So we're still on the 212. So in essence, you have a lot of flexibility over here. You have, 55 preamp profiles, I think, 58 amp profiles times 6 because you have the DI and 5 mics. But with those 55 preamp profiles, you can basically mix and match with all of the power amp profiles to really hone in your tone. And the way I profiled the power amp with each one of the cabs, and I'm just gonna show this to you because it makes more sense if you see it on the screen. I'm just gonna pick one, just one of the cabs. So you have the resonance at 0, and then you go in steps of 2, 0, right? So resonance at 0, and then with presence at 0, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, right? Resonance at 2, presence 0, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 10, right? Resonance at 4, 5, 6, 8, and then you should be able to get a wide or very wide variety of tones out of this pack. And yeah, I hope people like it. It was a crazy amount of work to get it put together. And yeah, hope you guys get are now able to make the most out of it. Grab it on Tone3000 if you like it, just add it to your favorites. And yeah, also check out the other amps that I have on Tone3000 or on the Ko-Fi page. Yeah, thanks a lot, and hope you guys have a great day. I'm just gonna start reamping some of the amps I have in the back there. Cheers.